Hi friends, today I will share 2 repurposed DIYs and photos of past upcycled and repurposed projects of my #1 best-selling item. This is the last video in the best-selling item series. Quick recap, number 5 was glass bottles, number 4, repurposed decor, number 3, trays and platters, number 2, frame decor, and my best #1 seller has been repurposed chairs. Upcycled chairs are a good seller as well, but repurposed chairs sell quicker and make a higher profit for me. I find that single chairs, unless I pair them up with a desk or small table, can actually pose a little bit of a selling challenge. Finding sets of chairs to flip can be like striking gold, especially in sets of 4 or more. Feel free to rescue those single, possibly broken chairs too. Even more exciting is repurposed chairs can generate a significantly higher profit margin, making your efforts all the more rewarding. Here are the chairs that we will be repurposing today. We will turn one into a plant stand and the other one into a stool. Here are a few pictures of the stools that I've made that sold quickly. The spindles were kept and repurposed for other projects. If you like the stencils that I used in today's video, purchase them at stencilsmith.com and receive 15% off when using coupon code CreativeDIY. I added a direct link for you in the description box below. Now on to our first DIY. This is the style of chairs I used for this project. If you'd like to take a screenshot, here is the materials and tools list. I purchased this wobbly chair for $5 at a thrift store. Some of the spindles are in rough shape, but that's okay. Normally, the second step after cleaning the chair is to cut the spindles off, but the battery on my saw was dead, so I decided to stand what I could on the seat using my cordless orbital sander. I love this sander. I have used it weekly, if not daily, for over 2 years, and it never disappoints. I do have a link to purchase the sander and also this saw. I highly recommend it. It is almost like a hand sewing machine. Lightweight, easy to use. You just line it up. You rest that guard right on the piece of wood. It cuts the spindles off. Now I do want to show you, see that one right there? That one I did not saw off because it pulled right out of the backrest. It is okay if that happens to you. It's not going to affect the outcome. Now, when you repurpose the spindle, you may want to cut that part off, but we're good to go for now. Even though they're both fairly quiet, I do recommend using hearing protection anytime that you're using any type of power tools. The wood grain and color on the backrest is beautiful, so I decided not to paint it and leave it plain just like the seat. I'll sand the stain that's in that handle in just a minute. First, I'm going to clean and hand sand the legs just to rough them up, and then apply 2 coats of Bounding Boss by Dixie Belle because we're going to be painting the legs. I love Bounding Boss. It's been a game changer for me. It's a plus not having to hand sand something so tedious like spindles. After 2 coats of the Bounding Boss have dried, I'm going to apply 2 coats of the Dixie Belle silk paint, and that is the color Black Sands. It's almost like a dark charcoal gray. So on this chair, the seat rest is wider than the seat, so I'm going to be adhering it onto the other side, which I'll explain more in a bit. Right now, I want to show you a quick way to sand out the stain in that small spot. You can take your piece of sandpaper, wrap it around anything. I think here I have a paintbrush. In one of my previous videos, I do have a kitchen knife that I use. You could even probably use a nail file. I decided to add a pop of color to the top of the chair rail. Instead of taking the time to apply painter's tape, I have to go over the front and back with some fine grit sandpaper just to smooth out any rough edges. So I'll get up any excess paint at that time. Okay, I apologize for the look of my stencil. I have had this for over a year. I have used it, oh my gosh, 50 to 100 times at least. And it goes to show the incredible quality of the stencils from Stencil Smith. I love this, and everything that I put this stencil on and the other one that I'll show you soon, it sells super fast. I love it. Again, you guys are going to get 15% off if you put in the coupon code Creative DIY over at stencilsmith.com. And there is the edge. I just wanted to show you guys. It really wasn't that bad. All right, so again, this seat rest is wider than the seat. If you run into this problem, you do have a few choices. You can cut the excess off to fit. You could even leave the backrest off, maybe cut holes for handles on the sides, or you can adhere it to the wider seat opposite side, which is what I decided to do. It's going to hang off about a ½ inch on either side, but it's going to work. And I actually like the rustic look from the exposed cut off spindles. I like to apply wood glue using a small paintbrush to make sure that I don't get too much and that I'm getting it in all areas. And I still recommend having a damp cloth on hand just in case any glue goes onto that raw wood. That way you can wipe it off and it won't show once the glue dries. And don't forget to hold on to those spindles for future repurposing projects, no matter what condition they're in. And please give me some ideas. How should I repurpose these spindles, and what are some of your favorite projects to use them in? Now, I did want to tell you, for extra stability, you can drill a pilot hole underneath the seat and go up through the backrest. And you're probably going to need 2.5 to 3 inch screws, because sometimes those seats are a good 1.5 inches thick. Taking a broken or seatless chair and turning it into a plant stand by adding a flower pot or baskets is very easy. Sometimes it's as simple as finding the perfect fitting flower pot and then doing nothing else to the chair. On occasion, as in today's project, a bit more work needs to be done. The first step after cleaning the chair is to remove the 4 braces that held the seat in place. Just make sure prior to removing them that it's not a brace that is actually holding the seat frame together. So the square flower pot is definitely on the larger side. I would have liked to have used it with a bigger chair, but it's going to work. I do need to saw off 2 of the back corners, so that way it's going to sit nice and level inside the chair. I apologize because I did lose some of my footage. After cleaning the chair, I did apply 2 coats of the Bonding Boss primer. I made a custom color using some Arcadia from the Silk line from Dixie Belle and what I had left of sawmill gravy. I applied 2 coats, letting them dry in between each application. And while it was drying, I decided to clean up the pot, stenciled the word flea market on the side of the pot. That's what I love about this large stencil. I can use the whole thing or just partial parts of it. And I think that it fit on there really well. I wanted to pull some of the color up to the top of the pot. So along the edge, I made some paintbrush marks with a dry brush and then went through with a little bit more paint on my brush just to make a little bit of a design. I think I could have skipped that part. I'm still on the fence about it, but this next step, I'm so glad that I did. Taking some black wax from Dixie Belle, I wanted to go all along that design on the back, the trim, and I ended up doing all of the edges of the chair, and I think it made a really big difference. It definitely gave shadowing and some texture right where this piece needed and highlighted that design on the back. Friends, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a super blessed week, and I will see you next week.